Every single culture on Earth invented a god of the dead, and here's the thing that'll keep you up tonight. They all made the same choice about who that god had to be. From the marble temples of ancient Greece to the ziggurat shadows of Mesopotamia, from the blood-soaked pyramids of Aztec Mexico to the ice-carved fjords of Norse legend, the underworld god emerges independently with the exact same core traits. Not similar. The same. And these cultures had zero contact with each other. The Greeks never met the Maya. The Sumerians never traded stories with the Norse. They were separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, yet when they looked into the dark and tried to give it a face, they all built the same archetype. Stern but not evil. Inevitable but not cruel. A keeper of laws that cannot bend, a guardian of gates that only swing one way. You see it in Hades with his adamant throne, in Ereshkigal with her seven-gated palace, in Mictlantecuhtli ruling his 9 rivers of the dead, in hell presiding over her mist realm with perfect coldness. The pattern isn't coincidence, and it isn't cultural exchange. It's something deeper. It reveals a truth about human psychology and our relationship with death that predates written language, that lives in the back of our minds before we have words for it. We've always known what death's face had to look like. We just keep forgetting we already agreed on it. Here's the thing nobody tells you about underworld gods. They didn't choose this. Hades literally drew the short straw. After the Titans fell, the 3 brothers divvied up creation like kids picking teams. And Zeus got the endless sky, Poseidon got the churning seas, and Hades? He got the one realm nobody wanted. The place where light goes to die. He didn't scheme for it. He lost a game of cosmic chance and spent eternity managing the dead. Ereshkigal's story is even worse. The Mesopotamian queen of the underworld didn't ascend by choice. She was banished there as punishment, exiled to rule the one place that terrified even the gods. Imagine that. You're forced to become the thing everyone fears, the keeper of a realm so cold and absolute that your own family won't visit. And Osiris? He became Lord of the Dead because his brother Set murdered him, tore his body into 14 pieces, and scattered him across Egypt. He didn't want dominion over death. He died first, brutally, and that made him king of everyone who'd follow. This matters because we've got it backwards. These aren't power-hungry tyrants cackling in the dark. They're exiles. Refugees doing the loneliest, most necessary work in existence. They keep the boundary between life and death from collapsing. And nobody thanks them for it. Here's what breaks everyone's brain about underworld gods. They're the honest ones. Hades never lies. Not once in the entire Greek mythological canon. He doesn't break oaths. Doesn't cheat. Doesn't seduce mortals in disguise like his brothers do every other Tuesday. He's called the Unseen One, which sounds ominous until you realize it's because he's the only Olympian who actually stays in his realm and does his job. The god of the dead is more trustworthy than every single deity on Mount Olympus, and that should tell you something. Osiris weighs your heart against a feather. That's it. That's the whole system. You get exactly what your life earned. No nepotism. No divine intervention because your great-grandfather built the right temple. The scales don't lie, and Osiris doesn't put his thumb on them. Mictlantecuhtli doesn't torture souls. He receives them. The Aztec underworld isn't about punishment, it's about destination. And here's the twist. Your destination is based on how you died, not how you lived. Warriors, women who died in childbirth, those struck by lightning, they go to paradise. Everyone else goes to Mictlan, and that's just geography. The living gods throw tantrums and start wars over beauty contests. But the death gods? They follow the rules. Every single time. Here's where it gets unsettling. Death gods don't rule alone, they take brides. And it's always the wrong bride. Someone who doesn't belong there. Someone alive, or fertile, or blooming. Hades doesn't marry a death goddess. He abducts Persephone, spring itself. The maiden who makes flowers grow, who represents everything his realm is not. He drags her down and marries her in the dark, and suddenly the underworld has a queen who smells like pomegranate and sunlight. It's transgressive. It's the union of opposites made sacred. In Mesopotamia, you've got Ereshkigal, queen of the dead, alone in her Kalar, and then Nergal, a plague god, storms her realm with the intention to kill her. They fight. They fuck. They end up ruling together in what can only be described as dark, feral passion. Death doesn't destroy him. It seduces him. He stays. Norse mythology does it differently. Hel never marries, but she's born wrong. Daughter of Loki and the giantess Angroder. Chaos and monstrosity given a throne. She's the bride that never was, the union that already happened in her blood. The pattern holds. Death is always entwined with fertility, with youth, with the thing that shouldn't be there but is. Because you can't have one without the other. Life doesn't mean anything without the dark. Here's where it gets properly unsettling. Every single one of these gods carries the same impossibility. You cannot look at them. Not won't. Cannot. Hades wears a helmet of literal invisibility. His name, Hades, doesn't mean Lord of the Dead. It means the unseen one. The god who cannot be perceived. Ereshkigal sits on her throne surrounded by such concentrated terror that even the other gods have to avert their eyes when they enter her domain. It's written into the instructions for approaching her. You bow, you speak, you do not look up. Mictlantecuhtli is worse. He's depicted as a skeleton, but there's a liver still hanging in his exposed ribcage. Organs dangling in a body that's already bone. His eyes are simultaneously empty sockets and watching. How do you process that? You don't. Your brain refuses. And Hel, her face is split down the middle. One half living flesh, one half corpse. You literally cannot perceive her as a single coherent thing. Your mind keeps trying to choose which half is real and it can't, because both are, because she is the threshold itself made visible. This is the thing encoded in every culture's mythology. Death is not just frightening, it's cognitively impossible. It's the thing you cannot witness and remain unchanged by the witnessing. The moment you truly see it, you've already crossed over. Here's what gets me about all of this. Every single one of these cultures, separated by thousands of miles and centuries, did the exact same thing. They looked at death, this incomprehensible, inevitable thing, and said no. No, you don't get to be a void. You don't get to be random. We're giving you rules. A face. A throne. A name we can speak out loud. And honestly, the fact that almost every tradition made their death god reluctant tells you everything. Hades didn't ask for the underworld. Ereshkigal got banished there. Osiris was murdered into the role. We understood something fundamental. Nobody wants this power, but someone has to hold it. Death needs a keeper, not because it's evil, but because chaos is worse. These myths weren't born from fear, they're the opposite of fear. They're us insisting that death is something you can negotiate with. Speak to. Understand. You can bring Persephone flowers. You can weigh your heart against a feather. You can pay Karen. There's a system. There's a way through. Notice how the underworld is never chaos in any of these stories. It's always the most ordered place that exists. Rivers in the right places. Judges. Levels. Rules. Rituals. Because that's what we needed. Death had to make sense, even if life didn't. So the next time you're told death is the end, remember, humanity spent thousands of years insisting the underworld wasn't an ending at all. It was a kingdom, and it needed a king, and that king was always, always crowned in the thing we fear most. Follow Blackfire Atelier. I'll see you in the shadows.